Today, I'm breaking down how you can serve like Gio and bring that same fire to your game at the service line. Let's get right into it. I had the pleasure of filming George Mason men's volleyball this year, following them along in a lot of their home matches and getting to see them up close and personal, honestly 5-10 feet away, and it showed me the power and how great these players are up close and personal. And one player especially that stood out is Gio Collazo, outside hitter for the Patriots in his final year in D1 men's volleyball, has been one of the best servers in the country, topping out at 74, 75 miles per hour on the season, really demonstrating how to do it back there at the service line. So in this video, we're going to focus on some intangibles that he does when he gets back there and serves, and how you can incorporate some of those same things into your serve to generate more power, more velocity, and a little bit more consistency. So the first clip we're going to look at is from a match against Penn State. The cool part about this point is that it's 24-23. George Mason had the lead for set point. And he's going back there and ripping this ball 70 plus miles per hour because he trusts his fundamentals. He's so consistent with all the elements of his serve that he can go up there and even if he misses, he knows it's typically going to be a good miss where the opponent might play that ball anyways. So you see here on this play, Gio gets a nice high toss. And one thing that separates him from other servers is he will toss that ball and wait a good second and a half before he starts to pursue it. He's one to toss that ball really high in the air to maximize the force he puts back on it. So Gio tosses this ball super high. He's tracking it well with his vision, looking at it all the way through, and then immediately gets into his approach, which is a 4-step. You can see on his last 2 steps here is when he really gets his arms involved, almost above his shoulders. From that good depth in his arms, he's able to swing forward and rotate that right shoulder to get a good amount of depth. And look at how much depth and tension is in this right shoulder here and right arm. That's where all the power comes from. From there, he just follows through like he's hitting a normal ball at the perfect contact point, at a really high point in front of him, so he's not hitting behind his shoulder. And he makes great contact with this ball. You can see just kind of the way it comes off the hand, with a little bit of knuckle, a lot of power. That's a ball that if it comes anywhere on your midline, which it does in this case to Will Coons, becomes an immediate out-of-system play for Penn State, and they end up messing up this point, and the Patriots secure the set. But really good things here when you slow it down in terms of tossing, focusing his eyes on the ball, using his full power in his arms, generating good torque and good shoulder hip separation, and then contacting that ball in front of him. And the last thing we talk about a lot is landing deep into the court. So you want to toss the ball in front of the service line and jumping into the court so you can make sure that it clears the net and has a landing point in the court. I'm not saying that you are immediately going to serve 70 plus miles per hour. This is a product of Gio's commitment and work to the game, and he is physical enough and strong enough to be able to do this consistently, but slowing it down, making it a little bit easier for you to see some of the progression in the serve, add to your serve a little bit, I think makes it easier when you slow it down and look at it really frame by frame. All right, here's another clip here of Gio, and this time coming from a different angle, so looking at him in the front and how his footwork kind of works there. And really it's the same thing. It's the high toss. The high toss is really important, getting that ball up in front of you in a consistent place where you know it's going to be. And his place for that ball is in front of the court, in front of the service line, where he can really broad jump into it. Second is that 4-step approach. So he kind of tosses and pauses, like I say, and then that first step is on his right foot. Second step is more of an explosive left foot step, and the last 2 are the step closed right left, turning that left foot in to make sure he doesn't foot fault, and then it's just a really good broad jump. And you can see how high he elevates here to close to that ball. And again, look at this shoulder hip separation. He gets really good turn on the shoulder. That's where your power comes from. If you're staying flat with your shoulders, you're not going to get any power. You can see how he turns the shoulder hip separation to a really high elbow and snapping through this ball as it reaches a high point for him to touch. Gets a good out of system play from that serve, leading to a Jackson Herbert block on the other side. So when you have the luxury of being able to hit the ball 70 miles per hour, you get to see the serve receive move back to the back third of the court. And when you do that, it opens up the chop serve, which is another serve that Gio has in his bag, which is sort of a change-up off-speed ball. You can see here it's pretty similar in setup. High toss, four-step approach, and the only change is once you get to contact, instead of following through with that ball, you kind of let the hand go and let the ball do the work over the net. And while Queens does a good job of picking up the serve receive and staying in system, keeping the defense honest that the chop is there is sometimes half the battle. Moving them forward and backwards makes your top spin more effective, so having a chop in your game as well is something to see if you can add into your game if you have developed a really strong jump serve. For me, there's two really important parts of the jump serve, and that's the toss. You need a consistent high toss in front of you in the court that you can run and jump and get to. And second, it's posture. As a volleyball player, if you're playing at the D3, D1 level, there's a good chance you understand the mechanics of the arm swing. So those are going to stay the exact same. You're not going to try and bounce that ball 10-foot line, but you're still going to try and get that shoulder turned, get the elbow cleared and through, and contact that ball at a high point in front of you in your hitting slot. And Gio does that well, as consistently as possible when you're hitting the ball this hard. Those are my two really keys, is get a good height in that ball, good height in the toss, time your approach well, so when that ball's at the highest point where you can reach it, it's in front of you. It still allows you to hit down on the ball and get some top spin on it. And then obviously Gio hits this ball with a lot of force, and there's going to be more variability and more risk when you hit the ball that hard, but it also leads to aces. And depending on the philosophy of your coach, if they're willing to risk some service errors to get some aces in return, that's the conversation you might have to have with them. But Gio's a guy that goes back there and puts pressure on the other team, and when you need a point, he's a guy that Mason and Jay has trusted a lot to score at the service line. I think serving is a foundation of solid teams. You look at some of the best teams in the country, they always have one or two guys that can go back there and go on a really strong service run. So I always preach aggression and serving your best ball. And sometimes it's jump serve and sometimes it's not. But if you can serve a ball like that, get into the upper 60s and maybe eclipsing the 70s, I think you have a chance to be a really strong server in this game. And Gio does that better than anyone. So take a look at some of his film and see how he's really gotten to a strong serving point and see what you can take away from it. So appreciate you guys watching this video. Hopefully it helps you serve a little bit better. Like I said, it was a pleasure to film these Mason guys all year, and they've been awesome. Shout out to them for contributing to the great film that you see on this video. But that's all I got in this one. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in Columbus this weekend for the NCAA tournament, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.